John, we're back for sermon notes.
Here we are.
The week after Easter.
Hey, still alive and kicking. It's a good thing.
2022. How you feeling?
I feel actually pretty good. I wish that I had the coffee from this morning flowing through my veins maybe a little bit more sharply this afternoon, but I'm doing well overall.
That's awesome.
God's good, and if I'm really in the spiritual mindset, man, I have way more than I deserve.
Yeah, no doubt. Blessed beyond any sense of what we deserve. Blessed beyond measure. I mean, that's for certain. And this whole the culmination of Lent, right? With Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, we got to lay low on Saturday. Somewhat of a pun intended there, right? You know, the whole laying in the tomb. And then we came back for the big victory on Sunday for resurrection. Easter, as a lot of folks call it.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Good day.
Yeah,
good
it was
day.
very good.
We had a great weekend, and if it was your first time here, one of your first times here, glad you were here. I thought it was a great celebration of Christ's victory on the cross on our behalf, and it wasn't just his victory, it was our victory. And so I love the inclusive language of what the gospel message is for believers of Jesus, and that is we share in the Father's victory.
Yeah.
And the message isn't as inclusive as maybe we'd hope, because there is a caveat with belief and a belief in Jesus. But he has invited us in, and we are part of that. We're part of the family. And we got to celebrate that this weekend. And so we had a great day. Rain held off.
I confessed during worship at the park, and then of course at 9:00, and I went to bed Saturday fully expecting to wake up to the sound of rain.
Okay.
And no sunrise service because of that at Forsyth Park. And of course my somewhat humorous tie into the scripture from John chapter 20 was like, I was seeing everything, but I still wasn't believing it. You know, just like Peter and John and Mary Magdalene, when they looked in the tomb and they saw it was empty and the linen cloth is folded and everything. I looked out, at first I woke up and I didn't hear rain. And then I look out the window and there's no rain. And I'm like, where's my phone? Now I got to get my phone out and verify that there's no rain.
Right.
Because that wasn't enough.
That wasn't enough, yeah. Well, that's the thing I wanted to talk about a little bit on the passage was John 20 primarily, and in the part to focus on that I'm thinking about is when Mary's, it's like the next day, and now it's early the next day. They'd been through a tough, long week. It started with a people who said, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And then the week ends with, crucify him, crucify him. So not only do I want to admit that we are a fickle people, not they were a fickle people, but we are a fickle people. But I also noted that as Mary was at the tomb, she went to a place that was familiar to her, and she went to a tomb. And what do you usually find at a tomb? You find death. And two things I want to bring up as we jump into sermon notes this week is that when Mary goes to the tomb, she gets asked two different times, once from the angels and once from Jesus. And they both say, "Why are you crying?" So I think they did something like this, like
woman.
Hey, yeah, woman. But that was a term of respect.
That's right. It's not like what we do.
It's not derogatory.
Yeah,
but they said, "Why are you crying?" Not, "Why are you crying?" They're like, "Hey, why are you crying? And there's nothing to cry about." And she's like, look. Just tell me where Jesus is. And I think what I want to bring up there is we are often so focused on what we want in the moment that we miss the message, or we miss what's really going on. And I just want to say, note to self, back up a little bit and ask, Lord, what's going on here?
That's good. Yeah, because it's so easy to believe that what we see with our eyes is the end of the story.
There you go.
And we forget that the Creator gets the final word. The Creator had the first word, and yes, sin and death and brokenness gets a word in the middle, but the Creator gets the first and the last word on this. And so what we see with our eyes, we need to back up. It's a great way of saying it. Just back up and say, what's really going on here?
Yeah.
And what is my God doing in this place?
And then the other thing I want to say is, believe it or not, this may surprise you, it's not about you. And so often I want the story. I'm the hero or the central person of the story. And the truth is,
this isn't about me.
It's not about you, baby. and I think and here's what the truth is. We think on Sunday, you're right, it's not about me. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday rolls around, and we're sure asking a lot of questions that have me at the center of the point of the question.
Yeah.
And again, the exhortation there is not to stop doing that, you dummy, which that could be good. But it's, hey, back up and remember, hey, this is what it's really about. And typically when you're going through something, it's not as much about you as you think it is.
Yeah.
Which is just a good thought. Okay, Lord, so what's going on? Not only with me, but with what's going on with my neighbors or what's going on in their world, the other person's world.
And I love about that question, what's going on? I think the follow-up is like, well, how does God get to receive glory from whatever's going on? Because
it's good.
There could be a mess that is happening in someone's life, and instead of us getting insulted, aggravated, our pride hurt, whatever it is, right, and responding out of our need for respect or our need for consistency or whatever, we respond out of a place of grace. And then all of a sudden, and look, preaching to myself on this one, right? Because how easy is it to be so caught up in the routine and all the things that we planned in our plan, and we forget that God occasionally says, hey, I've got an off-ramp. I need you to get off of your highway to what you think success and purpose and everything looks like, and I need you over here. And that's an inconvenient thing at times for our plans. But when we remember, when we said yes to Jesus, it's not our plan anymore. Mm-hmm. It's His plan.
Yeah.
So.
Good word. Well, anything else stick out to you about the message? You're one of the ones that preached it. I was just a
look,
fan.
we were just kind of going back and forth about the whole victory thing, right? It was a day of victory. It was the culmination of our 7 days that changed the world, and the way that we kind of coined that as a day of victory. And the question was, and I only hinted on this. I didn't get to stay on it. If Jesus won the victory, then why is my life so hard? Yeah. And you were asking that question earlier as we got prepped to sit down and talk together. And the joke was, it's like on Sunday when the music's playing and the lilies are up and everybody's in their best. It's like, good. Victory. It's kind of like we're almost like Mel Gibson in Braveheart. Victory. And he's yelling freedom, we're yelling victory. But and then what is it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday come and it changes. It's like victory. So why is life so hard if Jesus won the victory?
Yep. Well, let me answer it by asking another question.
Oh, there we go. Question with a question.
Yeah, question with a question. I think Jesus did that some. Just saying. But the question I have for you is, are you doing something wrong? Maybe that's why you don't believe the victory. Maybe you're doing something wrong. And so I think where I'm going on that is, hey, why is life so hard? And then we answer it with, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. I need to pray harder or better or different. And I just want to encourage you, it's not your fault that it's not going as well as you want it to go. Now, I'm not saying you don't have a part. You definitely have a part to play. But sometimes we blame ourselves when life's not going well. And that's true. Sometimes it's for a good reason. But sometimes it's just because there's thorns and thistles in life and the world's full of brokenness and the world is broken. And that's why it's tough to live in the victory, because there's sin and there's death and there's pain and there's hurt and we're emotional people. And all that leads to, wow, I have victory, but man, it's a struggle. It's a fight.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'm up in the 8:30 service this coming Sunday, and so the text this Sunday is Hebrews 12, 1 through 3-ish, and it's talking about run the race with endurance. We're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. And one of the exhortations there is that as we are looking to Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, it's Jesus who authors and perfects our faith, not me. Keep in mind, it's Jesus who does this. But I have a command to me, and it's to fix my eyes on Jesus. So I have a role, and I have a part. But remember, I only have a small part.
Yeah.
Jesus has got the main part. And so when we say, well, maybe it's my fault, what we're probably doing is just giving ourselves too much credit there. I just want to encourage you with that. It's like,
again, we're putting ourselves at the center of it.
That's right.
It's just we're doing it the other way. Instead of being the hero, then we're the villain. And it's like, what am I doing wrong? Well, no, it's not wrong. And the important thing to remember is, yes, Jesus he broke the power of sin. He defeated the grave, defeated death. But sin and death and brokenness are not abolished.
Yep. Not yet.
And not yet. There's a day, right? That'll be another day that we get to celebrate. And so I think it's just like a great reminder that all of this stuff that God came to fight against still battles on. Now the war is won. The victory is secure. Right. But there are still aftershocks. There's still battles that are going to happen. And unfortunately, they're going to happen in our lives.
Yeah, and so to carry the illustration with what Brian preached on in his message on Sunday, he used an illustration from a book by Max Lucado. And he talked about how a tribe was scared to go in the river. It was scared to cross the river. They desperately needed medical help, but they would not cross the river to go get it. And the missionary who was there went and jumped in the water and showed him the water's okay. You're not going to die if you jump in the water. And they did not believe him. Mm-hmm. And then finally he swam to the other side. And so the story is they began to think, okay, maybe I can get over there. And then Brian's connection was that's what Jesus did on our behalf, is he swam through death. And he was victorious on the other side. Yeah. Which I thought that's a great illustration for us. Jesus swam to the other side, and he's victorious, and he is. Period. As the tribe believed that, they still had to get in the water and swim to the other side. They
still had to get in the water and swim. That's exactly right.
Is it on them? No. It was on Jesus. Jesus was the one who secured it. But the response is, okay, I'm going to go toward Jesus. I'm going to get in the water and go toward his provision. So is it on me? Never. But I have a role. And that's what I want to walk away this week from. Look, Jesus has the victory, but your role is to do the things he's calling you to do, which is respond to his provision. And in that, remember, there's going to be thorns and thistles.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong, and it doesn't mean you're not connected, that you're not a follower of Christ. It means that you're still in a broken world. Mm-hmm. And we have that awesome place of being both a citizen of the kingdom of heaven and a part of this world. Yep. And that just means it's going to be hard sometimes.
Another way to put what's going on is you're part of the already but not yet provision of God, is that he has conquered sin. And that has already happened, but it's not yet a full reality until we're resting with him in heaven.
Yeah, so next week, roles will be reversed. I will not be preaching this weekend.
Up?
You are preaching, so I'll get to sit here and talk about the sermon.
Let's do it, baby.
Having not preached, and you get to be the one who preached. And then, of course, Pastor Brian will be in the Holy Land. That'll be a lot of fun to hear about that trip and all the people that got to do that. This Sunday, special time in our church, special time in the lives of many of our families and of course, across our church, as some of our young people come forward for confirmation. For those who are maybe just like, what's First Methodist all about and confirmation, what would you tell them about, hey, you need to check out this Sunday?
Yeah, the beautiful picture of confirmation is it's these preteens / early teens making a decision that I, for the first time, want to become a member of the church, and so I'm professing my faith that I believe in my parents' faith, and that is in Jesus.
Yeah.
No longer am I just with my parents, but I'm making a break officially from my parents to own my faith. And so they profess in the last 5 days or so, they've professed to you or Pastor Brian, they've professed that I personally believe that Jesus died for my sins and I want to follow him with my life. And then in front of the church, not only do I want to say that, but then I want to join the church as a participant who shares in gifts, service, prayers, presence,
and witness.
Yeah. And there you go. I've tried to practice that. I need to keep doing that. But on that, the picture is, hey, I'm stepping into faith and I'm stepping into making it mine. Well, that's what we want for every person who goes to this church. And this weekend we're celebrating that, but then we're also celebrating baptisms for people who aren't in part of the confirmation process. Some that are, some that aren't. And I think we have 10 baptisms this Sunday.
It's awesome. Which, we already had a Sunday back in February where we had a lot of baptisms, and now we get another time to do that again this month. Great. Every other month sounds good to me, where we just have a bunch of pop them on there.
That's right.
So my son's doing that, and so it's a special time for our family. He's confirming what he's believed. He wants to remember his baptism. Cool. Cooper is, and so I know how that is special for other families as well to watch what you have prayed about and tried to instill in your children, watch that become something that they take on for themselves.
Yeah,
and
that's what we want.
That's what we want. It's absolutely it. And so if you catch this before Sunday, April 24th, and you want to come by 3900 Loop Road and worship with us and watch some young people profess their faith in Jesus Christ and take the next step in their discipleship.
Yeah, I think we have baptisms in the Bayou at 8.
Yep. Before church services, there's going to be some people baptized at 8 o'clock.
And then I think we have some baptisms in the service at 9.
At 9.
And then we have some at 10 in the Bayou as well.
Yeah. And then is there one at 11?
I'm not sure.
No.
I can't confirm.
It's still early. It's still early.
Still early. Come on. But yeah, it's another day of celebration. And one of the great things about the church, you might hear this, but let's just talk about what we believe. Each Sunday when we come together, it's a chance to celebrate, to remember, to rejoice, and then to also mourn and just ask God for where you need help.
Yeah.
And that's why believers come together, because we do that together.
Right.
We believe in the proclamation of the gospel is the central part of what we're doing Sunday, which means we're telling each week we're telling of God's goodness to us and through Jesus, and then we're reminding each other what really matters. And wow, this weekend's going to be another great picture of that. So encouraged to be a part of it and check it out, whether you listen to it via the online broadcast or whether you join us. It's going to be a wonderful Sunday to celebrate what we believe and then to watch some young people take a step in their faith.
Amen. All right. And as always, if you'd like to connect with First Methodist Monroe, if you don't have a church home or maybe you're new to the area and you've been looking, text us 318-217-8383 and just tell us, hey, I'm new here, or send the word connect, and we will follow up. We'd love to tell you about our church. We'd love to tell you about the ministry we're engaged in and just how awesome it is to serve Jesus in Northeast Louisiana. So anything else?
I'm good.
Man, thank you all so much, and we'll talk to you next week.